So I'm going to start by reading these tingshows because, as many of you know, Francoise couldn't handle loud noises at all. But she wrote to me, when you do my memorial service, make all the noise you want. She can clap and dance and sing and do anything. So welcome, everyone. Well, this has been quite a journey for me and for everyone who knew and loved Francoise. I'm going to start by reading just a little bit about her life. From Toulon in southern France to Idyllwild in southern California, Francoise Frigola experienced a life as diverse as the two communities in which she lived. After attending college in Marseille, she moved to London, then to Paris, where she began a career with Hughs Corporation as a computer researcher. After improving a finance software program, she was offered a position with Hughs in the United States, first in Detroit, and later in Irvine, California, where she moved to in 1974. However, the other side of Francoise's practical nature was her creativity. She began with photography, working in color in her own darkroom. She loved to experiment. It was exciting. She never knew what was going to happen. Her first contest entry won a gold medal in the Orange County Fair. Her fascination with art became her passion. After resigning from Burroughs in 1982 to focus on her art, she became a computer consultant to support herself. And I can still hear her voice in my ear. Let's see, when I would call and leave a message on her answering machine, Francoise Frigola, your computer helper. After completing a master's degree in transpersonal psychology with an emphasis in astrology, she became a counselor specializing in sexual abuse, using astrology to map a person's psyche rather than to predict the future. In 1991, a box fell on her head, causing brain damage that made it impossible for her to work. When a doctor suggested that she leave the polluted air of Orange County, she found her way to Idyllwild, where she soon became a force for volunteering in the community. Unable to offer much in the way of physical help to local organizations, she instead used her computer skills at the Idyllwild Help Center, the Chamber of Commerce, Spirit Mountain Retreat, Idyllwild Area Historical Society, and all the other, the long list of things that I put inside the program today. And then there were more that I just couldn't fit. After joining Mountain Disaster Preparedness, Francoise found her calling when she saw the need for an emergency site in case our hill communities became shut off from the rest of Southern California. IdyllwildEmergency.com was born with the help of Ron Perry and Les Walker. It started with a website and emails, and now, because it uses a satellite terminal, Hill residents may use it to check on the safety of individuals in case of a disaster. In March, Riverside County Supervisor Chuck Washington presented Francoise with a proclamation from Riverside County at a ceremony at the Idyllwild Library with many MDP members in attendance. That meant so much to her. It just absolutely meant so much to her, for those of you who were there. When I asked if she planned to stay in Idyllwild, she said, until the very last minute. And she did. And she did. So Francoise came into my life, and I was looking it up this morning on the computer. In 2002, when my writing partner and I were working on a book called The Relationship Rooms, and we were having difficulty with our relationship. So somehow Francoise met Ralph Blum, and he said, let's make an appointment and go see Francoise, and we'll see what we can find out about what's going to happen with the relationship for us. So we went to her place in Fern Valley and climbed up the huge flight of rickety stairs, which some of you may have walked up at one point. And we sat down and we had this wonderful reading with her. I don't remember any of it. I just remember her. And she and I became friends. So I don't know how to describe our relationship except to say that we were soul sisters. And we shared so much. She brought me into, because of Francoise, I still speak French. You know, she started the Francophone group. I hadn't spoken French in 50 years, and we've been meeting for, 13 years now, once a month. We have lunch together and speak, those of us who speak French, sit together and enjoy each other's company and speak French for a couple of hours. What else? She started the Death Cafe. I'll speak more about the Death Cafe later. And because of what I was going through with my own mother, who was slowly but surely, slowly her life, I thought, the Death Cafe, that's something I need to find out about. So I started attending the Death Cafe, and probably 3 or 4 years ago. It's been going for 5 years nonstop. And there's always a wonderful group of people who show up. And what can I say about the Death Cafe? I attended religiously every month, and so she began to depend upon me to be there in that way. And I'm continuing the Death Cafe now that she's no longer with us. So I'm sending out an invitation to everybody on a huge mailing list of over 100 people that she would send out every month. So, what else can I tell you except the last couple of years of her life, she and I became ever closer. I was taking her to many doctor's appointments, as were many people who are here today. As she just absolutely fought to stay alive, there was this struggle that went on in her of wanting to let go, like, I just can't deal with this anymore, and then going to another doctor's appointment and another doctor's appointment, and getting a wheelchair and getting a walker, and it was just. She was absolutely amazing in her determination to get better, and also her determination to let go. And I watched, I experienced when she gave up her photography. Her photography, which meant so much, she stopped taking photographs. Then she gave up doing IT work. The computer helped her on the hill. She couldn't do that anymore. Then she retired from Idyllwild emergency. And then she said to me, Roland, I'm not hungry anymore. And anyone who knows Francoise knows how much she enjoyed going out to lunch with her friends. In fact, that was her gift. Whenever you took her to a doctor's appointment, you had to go have a wonderful Vietnamese or Chinese or Indian or whatever meal down in the desert with her. So when she stopped enjoying food, the one thing that gave her joy and pleasure was to see her friends. And she could only handle so much of that because her energy was so low. And to have her cat, Nellie, who's now in Nirvana, happily, in her life, purring away. So what I've done for our program today is invited various people who represent some of the groups that she was involved with over the years to speak. But first, Anna's going to say a little something, and Local Color is going to sing a song called Changes. She changes everything she touches. Changes. And she did. She did.
You know, I got picked for this job because I was possibly Francoise's first friend up here. And it was the early 90s, I guess. I don't remember exactly when, but I do know, and I can't even remember the circumstances under which I met her, except that we met and I said, would you be interested in going to a concert? And she said yes. And it was a concert at Town Hall with David Reedmar and Mark Taylor. And it was only as we got into the concert, you know, it was just hurting her ears. And yet she soldiered on. She wanted to see the concert. She wanted to be in the energy of what you guys had made there.
It was loud.
It was really loud. And I took her home, and as we talked, what I discovered was a woman who had just so many sides. Subsequently, she became my computer helper, and she taught me restore points. And I use restore points psychologically every day. And I use them on my computer too. I know how to defrag, and I know how to create restore points. The third thing I want to say about Francoise, and she was such a multi-dimensional character, was the day that she hailed me in the parking lot of Fairway, and this was 2 years ago, and she said, I said, hi, Francoise. How are you doing? And she said, oh, I was so happy. And I came over to give her a hug because I knew touch was something we shared, of just wanting the warmth of a hug. And she said, I've just learned that hospice will let me die. And she was just beaming. It was great. And when I got the phone call telling me that she had died, I just, yeah, on her way. And she did it without struggle and without having to work at it. It came. And I was so lucky to give her a kiss before they took what was remaining of her away. And Bronwyn's probably told you this, but her face was radiant. Absolutely radiant. She looked like she had had a lot of work done. And that wasn't Francoise. You know, Francoise, I know a lot of people found her frustrating to be with. The stutter slowed things down. She needed to take her time. For me, that was the nicest lesson from any friend, was just learning to stay in her time and wait for the language to come. So I miss her every day. And I really missed her the last couple of days when we lost our electricity and there wasn't a notice on my phone. And she was so efficient. So those are the salient points, but there are a million more of light around her. So let's sing She Changes Everything. Yeah, let's come in front of the altar.
She changes everything.
changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes.
So is Linda Hart here?
Right here.
Linda, would you like to come and speak about your relationship with Francoise and the Idyllwild Area Historical Society?
Safe to say she changed, as the song said, everybody, but she was also such a help to everybody in this town. Almost 20 years ago, myself and Sheila Meyer and Cheryl Reed started the Historical Society. We worked out of my house for 2 years, keeping all the artifacts there. All of us trying to remember who gave it to us, what it had to do with this town, and its relevance. And we did it by writing on a piece of paper and trying to use our heads. Thank God I don't have to do that today, because we're talking 20 years now. And I met Francoise, actually not having to do with the Historical Society. I'm not quite sure how I met her, but I did some of the driving to doctor's appointments for her. And we had a love of France. I've been going to France since I was 9 years old. So we had to Paris specifically. So we had that, and then I found out about her art and her photography and her sensitivity, which was wonderful. And in the conversations going to the doctor's office, I told her about the Historical Society and what we were doing on paper. And she goes, no, no. And I was so relieved. And almost immediately came to my house and probably 2 days a week started data entry on all of the artifacts that make this town so important. So her place, not only for the Historical Society, but everybody in this room that loves this town, we owe her a great deal. Because of the richness of this town, and she was able to start a program called PP3, which was specifically for museums in tracking information, so that anybody in this room, if you come, call me or call one of the people there, and ask about a subject matter, we can go into the computer, pull it up, and give you the information. And that is unbelievably rich in its thoughtfulness and its giving. So that's my history with Francoise.
When you said no, Francoise really knew how to say no. You want to learn how to do it the French way, you just hold your nose. No. Now, the other thing that was very important to her, in fact she wrote it to me, what I want in my memorial, Please let everybody know that my name is pronounced Francoise. Not Francois. That's the deal. It's Francoise. Just to let you know. So, is Mike Finger here? Mike? And Sherry?
She stole my line.
Oh, then no. You can say it. You can say it.
When I first met Francoise, I introduced her to someone that same evening. And I said, meet Francois. Holy mackerel. Not just to me, but to about 4 other people that were standing. My name is Francoise. And I'll never forget it. That woman gave a lot to this town. Personally, she gave a lot to me. I got to know her by an evening when she called and said, I want to talk to you about an idea that I have. And I thought, oh man, if she's got an idea, guess what? It's going to be enacted, because she's just doggedly didn't give up. But she wanted to protect this town, and she wanted to protect the people in it. And she felt a big need through mountain disaster. I shared it. Through mountain disaster preparedness, that we needed some sort of an alert system, electronic. And she proposed Idyllwild emergency. Now, we all know how we all volunteer for everything and anything. And I told her, I said, you're talking about a huge undertaking. That's okay? I'll do it. And damned if she didn't. By herself. She brought a group of team members together. But all the documentation, all the rules of the road, all the what we're going to report on, Facebook, Twitter, Idyllwild Emergency, the MDP site, for 7 years. She sat by a computer with 4 different screens monitoring highway patrol, sheriff, forestry, CAL FIRE, Idyllwild fire. And we all got very used to it, I think. When we ran into some financial issues, she said, I don't want anybody to pay for this. This is my gift. And if something should ever happen to me, I want it to continue that way. Well, we lost her. MDP lost her, the community lost her. We're still trying to fill the gap. But on top of being a diligent volunteer and interested in this community, each and every one of you, I think, could consider her as much of a friend as she considered us. When my wife was sick, she was there. She talked me off many a cliff. Just brutally honest, but brutally honest. I don't know what else I can say about her except I love her. And I used to text her every morning. She would text me too, just to make sure that we were both still standing up. And to this day, when I go to the computer, I think I got a text Francoise. She's not there, but she's up here, and I think she'll be up here with everybody. So thank you all for being a friend. Thank you for my little story, and God bless us all. Sure.
She used to, when she was real active in the emergency, she would call me at the Iowa fire and say, what's going on? And we'd tell her. I mean, I would tell her. It was just consistent. She was with us for 6 years.
7.
No, 6 years.
She reminds me of Francoise.
She was with us for 6 designed our poster for our fundraising
That's right.
for 6 years, according to whatever we decided the theme was going to be. 1 year cars and just different things, and posters you would see everywhere. And she was more than willing and delighted, and she would take criticism very easily. If we criticized something, not meaning we didn't like it, but we would like it more this way. And she was so into our fundraising, and God bless her.
Thank you.
Barry Zander.
Sherry and I are both board members of Temple Har Shalom in Idyllwild, the Jewish congregation. This is our temple, and it's honoring St. Hugh of Lincoln, who 700 years ago defended the Jews from persecution in England. And so we have such a strong relationship with this congregation, and thanks to Father Dan and members of the congregation, we feel so accepted. We've been using St. Hugh's for 5 years as our temple, and the feeling, the fit has just been wonderful. I don't have that much to say about Francoise' relationship with it, but it was very important. First of all, Francoise was born in France after the war, when there was still a lot of hostility toward the Jews, apparently. She was, apparently her mother was Jewish and preferred not to have them practice the religion. But so when she came to the United States and went through her different places here, she didn't really get involved too much with the religion. However, the moment came when she found out that we were starting a Jewish congregation, formal Jewish congregation, in about 2004, and she was more than eager to be part of the efforts to get us online. By the way, one of the things that most admirable about her is she had absolutely no prejudice. She felt that Macs and PCs were equal. Definitely appreciate that. Again, the main influence that she had on our congregation was communications, and believe me, we filled the cloud every day with emails and texts and everything else, so we're certainly appreciative of her. Sherry, you have a story.
Stay with me. In that chair where Mary Beth's sitting, I sat, and she was sitting next to me. And we were honoring all of those of the Holocaust. And she started crying. From her feet to her head. And just sobbing and sobbing and sobbing. I rubbed her back, all I could do. That's all I could do. And then finally, she was done. But each and every one of us in this room knows Francoise in different ways, and some of the same ways. And we'll always have her in our hearts, and keep her, and God bless her. Thank you.
I'm going to read a poem. Bauman and I both found it the same day, and both had the same ideas about it. So it's called Epitaph by Merritt Malloy. Sorry. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old people waiting to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your sister or brother walking the street beside you. And when you leave me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known and loved, and if you cannot give me away, at least let me live in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me best by letting hands touch hands and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die, people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away.
And we did give her away. We spent 8 weeks. One of the other aspects of Francoise is that she never threw anything. So a group of us spent 8 weeks going through her house, finding, in fact, Holly Owens is back there in the corner, finding new homes for everything that she left behind. And I would say that we gave at least a third of it away to the Smarts program, because she has lots and lots of art, all kinds of art supplies. The Smarts program, to Idyllwild Arts. We gave most of her camera equipment to Idyllwild Arts. We gave to their photography department. We gave probably 3/4 of her computer equipment to Spirit Mountain Retreat, which was in great need of upgrading. We gave truckloads to the dump. Excuse me, what's it called? Well, we transferred it. Right. We also took a lot of her clothing, Holly took a lot of her clothing to Angel View, and also to the Help Center. So we did, we gave her away over and over and over. And let me tell you, I'm looking at my house at a whole as a result of 8 weeks. So, let's see. Monique Sander is going to come up and speak about les francophonies.
When we moved here in 2011, and Marshall Smith told us that it was a French club. Oh, that sounds really good. So I called Francoise. And it's not Francoise, it's Francoise. Try it on your tongue. It's Francoise. So I attended, she started it in 2005, so they would be 14 years now. So I went once a month, and she told me that she had started the club because she was forgetting her French. So she said, I did it for myself first. And then she said, I found out that there were several fluent speakers. You have to be fluent or you can't join the club. Almost. Now we're beginning to accept people that's sort of quirky. But anyway, after she passed, I volunteered to take over for her because we definitely have to continue the tradition. And it's good for all of us. I know with me, I hadn't spoken French in probably, and I'm French born. I hadn't spoken French in probably 30 years or so. Now, I can't write it much anymore. I make mistakes, but I can speak it fluently. So after attending once a month, I don't know how long it was, and one day she called me and she says, you know, I want to get to know you better. Let's get together. She took that step. And I'm really glad that she did. I got a kick out of her and Hubert. Because most of them have very strong French accent. And they would ask people which one? I don't have that strong an accent. She does. No, he does. And it was always this competition with whoever's the strongest accent. And they used to get into this discussion sometimes. But we enjoyed it very much. So that's, and so I became friends with her, and then, you know, also took her to the doctor, also like most of us did, and got a little bit involved with her art that she had so much of and couldn't do anything with, and we were trying to figure out what to do with it. And that's about it. So we certainly owe a big debt.
So speaking of Francoise's art, I want to tell you what happened during the last week of her life. Debbie Daniels, who can't be here today because she's not feeling well, who started Idyll's Helping Hands, which is a wonderful new organization in town, now a 501c3, which she's slowly but surely getting going. Francoise called me. She had a doctor's appointment. I couldn't take her. 2 other people said they couldn't take her. I said, well, you know, why don't you call Debbie Daniels? She'd never met her. And Debbie, who had just come back from spending 2 days taking care of Pam Parsons, who had been down in the desert having, I don't know what his shoulder or knee, but taking care of Pam, answered the phone, and Francoise said, I need help. I have a doctor's appointment at 10 o'clock tomorrow in the desert. And Debbie, who has a heart as big as they come, and who just wants to help, who's only in her 50s. And has just moved up on the hill with all that San Diego energy, you know, all that city energy. She said, well, of course, I'll take you down there. So they had never met. And she took her down to the doctor's appointment, and during that, she sat with Francoise during the appointment, and the doctor said to her that this was an important appointment because she had all of these scans. And the doctor said to her, well, you know, we found an abnormality, a large mass on your liver, some smaller ones on your liver, and your spleen, and your bladder, and your lungs don't look very good. And he didn't say C. He didn't say the big C. He just said, you need to have a liver biopsy, and I'm going to make an appointment with you to see the oncologist. And she just said, okay. And then she said, let's go to lunch. So she went to her favorite place now in the desert called Basil, or Basil, however you pronounce it. Anyway, it's a Thai restaurant in the desert. And they had a wonderful lunch together and started sharing their lives. And Debbie was just, she was just like, in England they say gobsmacked. You know, she was just like, wow, you're an incredible person. She came back, she took Francoise home, and she came back the next day, spent the whole day with her. And Francoise started telling her, there was no backstory. They were meeting each other for the first time. And Francoise started showing her all of her art and telling her story and where she came from and how she did this photography and this sculpture. And Debbie was just like, you're incredible. So she came back the next day and the next day. And by the 4th day, Debbie said, well, I'll take it all. I'll take all your art. Because the Art Alliance said, oh, this is too big, we can't deal with this. And Idyllwild Art said, there's nothing, we just don't even know what to do with all of this. But Debbie, bless her heart, said, I will take it all. And she did. 5 SUVs full. I'm not kidding. There was so much that she took, which is all being stored at her house. And Francoise said, anything that you make goes to support, you know, selling my art, whether it's online, however you do it, it's going to go support Idyll's Helping Hands, because she saw what an incredible need we had. Now, when I finally get everything straightened out with regard to money, she's also donating $3,000 of her estate to Idyll's Helping Hands, for all of us. So that's the story of Debbie. And Jean Wagner is going to read a poem for us. Jean, you're up here.
Francoise was a member of Idyllwild and Landia Writers Group for a number of years. We're not active anymore, but that's how I got to know her. Anyway, this is a poem by Reverend Sapphire Rose that Bronwyn found among Francoise's papers. I love the sound of chanting that it conveys, so I'll give it a try. She let go. She let go. Without a thought or a word, she just let go. She let go of the fear. She let go of the judgments. She let go of the confluence of opinions swarming around her head. She let go of the committee of indecision within her. She let go of the, wholly and completely, without hesitation or worry, she just let go. She let go of all the memories that held her back. She let go of all the anxiety that kept her from moving forward. She let go of the planning and all the calculations about how to do it right. She just let go. No one was around when it happened. There was no applause or congratulations. No one thanked her or praised her. No one noticed a thing. Like a leaf falling from a tree, she just let go. There was no effort, there was no struggle. It wasn't good and it wasn't bad. It was what it was, and it was just that. In the space of letting go, she let it all be. A smile came over her face, a light breeze blew through her, and she just let it go.
Now it's my turn. I wanted to tell you a little bit about the Dove Cafe. Let's see. Where are we here? Maybe. Could be. Actually, I'll start. I got a wonderful email from Esther Kennedy yesterday. And I want to read the letter that she wrote to me. She asked if I would read this to you. And after I read it, and I emailed back to her, I told her that I was feeling anxious, that I'd never done this before and I didn't know what to do, and I wanted to honor Francoise, and I wanted it to be perfect, and I wanted it to be right, just right. So, here's what, and Esther said to me in her very calm way, the words will just flow right out of your mouth. So I said, thank you. So, how great is my desire to be with you and all who will gather Sunday to remember, honor, and celebrate Francoise. I will be with you in spirit, for sure. I count Francoise for me and for others a blessing among blessings. I remember myriad moments of kindness poured out to me while at Spirit Mountain Retreat. She cared so deeply for what we were all about. I see her capturing photo moments in the garden, at seasonal ceremonies and other gatherings. I recall her eager response to computer queries and struggles. I honor and appreciate both the simplicity and the complexity with which she lived her life. I see her smile, so radiant and loving. So I pray with the words of Karl Rahner, S.J., we do not see them, but they see us. Their eyes are radiant with glory and are fixed upon our eyes. Though invisible to us, our dead are not absent. They are living near us, transfigured into light, into power, into love. Francoise lives now, free to move in her amazing energy and love, of which we are all recipients. So that's from Esther. I found what I wrote about the Death Cafe. Having personally experienced the lack of communication surrounding loss, Francoise decided in 2015 to host an Idyllwild Death Cafe at Spirit Mountain Retreat and was amazed when 16 people showed up. First begun in Switzerland in 2011, now, 9,000 gatherings are happening all over the world. The death cafes are informal gatherings for people to come together and discuss all things about death. Conversations are guided by the attendees themselves. We laugh, we sometimes cry, but most importantly, we talk about and share our life experiences while facing the fact that life is the very definition of uncertainty. Looking death in the eye and facing our fear enables us to live more fully, not in the future, with some long list of goals, but right now. So, I invite anyone who would like to come up and share something. There are 2 people who would like to come up and read a poem. Anybody else who has memories. We have a little more time that we can be together, and then we're going to move into the other room. What do they call it? The fellowship hall. There will be food and coffee and drinks where we can just be together and enjoy each other's company. Yes?
Is it time to stand up and speak?
No.
Okay, let me know, because she chewed me out one time, I need to share that with you.
So should we sing to my Obrana at the very end? Yeah. We're going to sing one song at the very end before we all go into the fellowship hall. But first, anyone who would like to come up and share? Yes.
Just want to say one more thing that I think is most important right now to say. One of the speakers said she liked to touch,
Yes.
and every time I see her at the post office, almost daily, she had the best hugs.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
She gave and received the best hugs.
Yes, she did. She did. I've been told I give great hugs, but I guess it was both.
The other thing I forgot to mention is, and I forgot to do it myself this morning, is her favorite fragrance was lavender. So whenever you gave her a hug, you could smell the lavender in the living room. So I was going to put lavender on myself this morning, but I didn't. So.
I've known Francoise for about 20 years. I first met her when I was working in David Salk's gallery. She came in, and later she told me, as soon as I met you, I knew we'd be friends. Which was really a beautiful compliment. And we were friends, and we enjoyed each other's companies very, very often, especially at meals and parties. And I want to read this poem that spoke to me. Not only, it's like Francoise letting go of her struggles and her infirmities, which she lived with very well, but what a challenge, what a challenge. So this, the people asking, they spoke saying, we would ask now of death. And the prophet said, you would know the secret of death. But how shall you find it unless you seek it in the heart of life? If you would indeed behold the spirit of death, open your heart wide unto the body of life. In the depth of your hopes and desires lies your silent knowledge of the beyond. And like seeds dreaming beneath the snow, your heart dreams of spring. Trust your dreams, for in them is hidden the gate to eternity. For what is it to die but to stand naked in the wind and to melt into the sun? And what is it to cease breathing, but to free the breath from its restless tides, that it may rise and expand and seek God unencumbered? Only when you drink from the river of silence shall you begin to sing. And when you reach the mountaintop, then shall you begin to climb. And when the earth shall claim your limbs, then shall you truly dance. Francoise, my friend, keep singing, keep climbing, keep dancing.
Francoise was my friend too. Today I bring greetings from Frances Rothhuber, who wrote this poem. She would have loved to be here today, and she feels very close to Francoise's as well. So she asked us if we could at least read it, and she could at least partake in the ceremony. Each morning as I walk, I greet my friend, a red oak, now in its teens. I have named it Stubborn. In the late fall, it refuses to release its leaves. In the spring, the new leaves have to push and push to squeeze through. Like all good friends, Stubborn is a teacher. All life is on the move, sometimes a radical move, from endings to new beginnings. We always have to end a comfortable womb life to enter a greater life. I am beginning to drop my leaves as I enter into my late fall. My accomplishments, my reputation, my physical strength, my books, information, my projects. A new spring is possible, a new intensity, and incredible aliveness as I engage more deeply in this relationship with the presence. An early image returned. Just before the sun splashed over the mountain, the light changed the trees at the rim into a crystal fringe. I would have my death be such a moment, a new birth.
I don't know about you, but my first experience with Francoise was a tough one. First of all, I think I was the president of Rotary at the time, and I said, why don't you join Mountain Disaster Preparedness? And I remember calling Mike Federer and I said, I'm interested. And he says, great, we've got this DAS unit hotel over by Idyllwild Arts. Then he tells me about Francoise. He says, we have Idyllwild Emergency, and this is what she does. Not what they do, but she does. And he spoke incredibly highly of her. She's always on the radio, because this is a closed radio system. There's about 40 radios out there, and everybody's got a responsibility. This is how we protect our community. Francoise is really the chief right here. So, okay. I saw her in her chair. It was somewhere in the village. There was some event. I don't remember what the event was anymore because it's all blur, because I just remember this one incident. By the way, your song was appropriate because, yeah, she touched me and she changed everything. So I introduced myself. And I told her I was German. She told me she was French. I just screwed up history here. So, and I said that Mike Federer spoke very highly of her. and I now have desks in a hotel. And I was assigned a radio by BJ. I had a sign for it. She says, "Where is it?" I didn't have my radio with me. And she says, "You always have to have your radio with you. This is so important. I mean, what good is that radio unless you have it with you? I am the one that monitors this and makes sure that that Idyllwild is protected." I mean, she was real serious about this, and I was seriously embarrassed about not having my radio. And I'm a ham operator, and I have my other radio with me. She says, "What's that for?" And I said, "Well, it's a ham operator, and besides all that kind of stuff." So I felt rather sheepish, and she chewed me out, and I felt really sheepish. Then I said, "Well, you know, she made a point, and she was absolutely right." And here was this woman with such great passion. She did so much for the community on this Idyllwild emergency. She said, "Are you on that?" I said, "No." I was afraid to say anything after that. So I said no, and she chewed me out again. I got it all within 2 minutes. And so I said, well, I said, thank you very much. And I stumbled away. But then as I got out with the radio check on Tuesday nights, and we do that, and then since I'm out hiking a lot, I'd say, you know what, I want to find out how far this radio actually reaches. It's a closed system. I would always call Francoise, "This is Roland, Radio 67. And she would answer up, and she would follow me on my hikes. I found it worked down in Temecula, it worked out in Hemet, it worked out there, Keenwild, all over the place. It worked out just fine. And we got to be friends on the radio, which was really special for me. And there is a, I guess it's a tradition, that when a ham radio passes away, that ham radio operator becomes a silent key. Remember the old days when it was Morse code? Silent key. So I look at Francoise as a silent mic. And I know she has her radio with her. Francoise, this is Roland Radio 67. I just want you to know that we're all here and we're all gathered in your celebration. May you rest in peace, Francoise. Thank you so much for all you did for me. Thank
Some of you may remember me. And between the poems and song, Roland and some of the other speakers, I'm not sure I can add a whole lot, because all of those things came into play with me. Mike Vader calls me and says that there's this person who wants to start this program and needs to talk to me about it. I said, okay. And he said, no, you and I need to meet and talk beforehand. You really need to understand this. And I had already met Francoise before, but not in this capacity. And when he came in and met with me and told me what all was going to be taking place, I said, well, I'm not sure where you need me and what you need me for, but okay, let's come in and have this conversation. So we had the conversation, and obviously I supported the program. But apparently I didn't support it enough. Because Francoise would call me and say, I need to meet. Francoise would call me, and if I don't make the conscious effort, she would call me and say, I need an appointment. I need to meet with you. Why? And, you know, time is valuable for all of us, and she wasn't happy with, like a lot of us aren't happy with working at the speed of government. And there's a joke about that. It's called mating elephants, and I'll bore you with that later if you haven't heard it. But she was never satisfied with how fast things were moving. And while she could say no, she did not accept no. And so we would have these appointments and powwows, and frequently I'd have to bring Mike and others into the room to make sure that we were all moving forward at the right speed, that we were all communicating. And what I can tell you is she was not only a huge pain in the butt, but she had the heart of this community first and foremost, and it was just unbelievable. And obviously Supervisor Washington's office was involved because they learned who she was rather quickly, as did EMD, CAL FIRE, Caltrans, the Sheriff's Department, and the Highway Patrol. So everybody came to know her and came to respect her for what she was trying to do. And again, she wouldn't take no for an answer and managed to get on everybody's email list and managed to get the ear of every public information officer or PIO in this county. And for that, we should all be very thankful. And if you are not on Idyllwild emergency, then guess what? You're going to get the lecture. Because you should be. As should your cell phones be registered with EMD, and you should be looking out for one another as well. And because that's what she wants. And I thank you for your time.
So, Local Color is going to sing one last song before we move into the fellowship hall. I also want to let you know that there's going to be a bingo game tonight at 6 o'clock. I'm not quite sure who, I think it's St. Hughs that is putting it on. They're working to raise money to repair the roof.
Yes.
Okay. So if you like to play bingo, for $5 you get 7 cards and any food that's left over at the end of the night.
I happen to know who the caller is, just so you're aware. But also, it is for the new roof, and it's very important because it's not just about this church. It's about Temple Har Shalom.
Right.
It is about our AA, and it's for events such as this that the church makes itself available. So it's not just about the church. It is about the greater community. So please, come on out and have some great fun.
Thanks, guys.
So, Local Color, come on up. I just want to say we have a wing of Local Color you may not know about. And we have our wingman with us today. So, come on down.
We who form the physical.
And a report from Nellie. She asked me to tell you that as long as Anna's on her bed and available to pet her, she's the most sensuous cat I've ever owned. And she's a delight. And I'm really glad that I get to take care of her. Nellie. Nellie.
This is her third life.
This is her third life. She's, Francoise inherited her from her friend in Orange County. And then asked me if I would take her. I said, yes, I would. And she is well loved and a happy cat. Ladies, come forward just a little bit and let's push up a little bit. Sure, people stand up in front. Oh, just moving the music. Just And I'm thinking of it as a nice kind of meditation in quiet time to take all of this incredible love and just hold it. So, this is Pete Seeger's To My Old Brown Heart. Pure and sweet and free,
The French, we all have learned that it's hors d'oeuvre, right? Well, the French also say amuse, which means, I don't know. It tickles your mouth, it makes your mouth happy. So, you know, open the doors and you're welcome to come into the fellowship hall. There's coffee, there's tea, there's something to drink.
Hi, you have reached 951-659-4146, the various ventures of Francoise Frigola, including your computer helper on the hill. Please leave a message. Thank you.